What if I told you that one of the most famous poems in the English language isn't just beautiful words, but actually a practical guide for getting through tough times? Well, today we're going to dive into John Keats' A Thing of Beauty and really unpack the powerful message that's hiding inside. Okay, so it all kicks off with this line. You've probably heard it a million times, right? But here's the thing. Keats isn't just offering up a pleasant thought. He's making a really radical claim that beauty isn't just nice, it's essential. And its power, it's permanent. And that's the real question, isn't it? I mean, how can something as kind of abstract as beauty be a lasting source of joy when life gets genuinely hard? Well, Keats has a fascinating answer, and it unfolds through the rest of this incredible poem. So, first things first, Keats unpacks what he actually means by a joy forever. He doesn't just leave it as this vague idea. He explains how this promise of lasting peace really works. And here is the first big idea you gotta get. For Keats, the joy you get from beauty isn't some temporary high that just fades away. It's more like a great investment. The memory of a beautiful thing doesn't just stick around. Its value actually grows stronger over time. And you can see him making that exact point right here. He says its loveliness increases. It will never pass into nothingness. So unlike pretty much everything else in life that fades or breaks, he argues that true beauty is permanent. It becomes a lasting part of us. But so what? What does that actually do for us? Well, Keats answers that with this amazing metaphor. He says beauty basically builds a kind of shelter inside our minds, a quiet place we can retreat to when the world gets too loud and harsh. The specific word he uses is a bower. Now, a bower is literally just a shady spot under some trees, a natural place to find some rest. So when Keats says beauty will keep a bower quiet for us, he means it gives us that same kind of peaceful, protected space, but deep down in our souls. And check this out. Look at the specific gifts this bower gives us. It's not just some vague, fuzzy feeling of comfort. He's talking about real, tangible benefits, peaceful sleep, better health, and that sense of total calm he calls quiet breathing. So for Keats, beauty is fundamentally good for our well-being. Okay, but this next part, this is what makes the poem so incredibly powerful. Keats wasn't some naive guy living in a fantasy world. He grounds his entire argument by looking the reality of human suffering right in the eye. And this is what gives the poem its weight. Keats gets it. He knows life is often filled with negativity and sadness. He's not ignoring all the bad stuff. He's suggesting that beauty is the answer to all that bad stuff. And wow, he really doesn't hold back. He lists these gloomy realities, that deep disappointment he calls despondence, that feeling that there is a serious lack of good, noble people in the world, those just plain sad, gloomy days, and all the unhealthy, dark paths we sometimes go down. This is the darkness he's positioning beauty against. So, on one hand, we've got this profound human sadness. On the other, we have the promise of beauty. This next section is where Keats shows us how the two come together. And here it is. This is the big turning point. A pall, by the way, is that heavy cloth they lay over a coffin. It's a super powerful symbol for death and sadness. And Keats is saying that despite all of that suffering we just talked about, some form of beauty comes along and literally lifts that dark covering right off our souls. So this is the crucial point. Beauty isn't passive. It's not just sitting there looking pretty. It's an active force. It moves away the pall. It does something to us. It intervenes, cuts through all that gloom, and reminds us why we're connected to this world. Okay, so if beauty is this powerful antidote, where do we actually find it? Well, Keats doesn't leave us guessing. He gives us a whole catalog of examples. And what's so brilliant is just how simple and accessible they all are. His first and most obvious source is nature. He's basically saying that we are surrounded by these shapes of beauty every single day, if we just take a second to actually notice them. And just look at this list. It's so universal, right? The sun, the moon, trees giving shade, a boon or a blessing to everyone, daffodils, those clear little streams or rills that create a cool shelter from the heat, a patch of wild roses in the middle of a forest. It's all just out there, waiting for us. But then, just when you think it's all about flowers and trees, Keats does something fascinating. He completely expands the definition of beauty. He argues it also exists in our human legacy, in the stories and the myths that we tell about ourselves. Now, this line can sound a little strange at first. The grandeur of the dooms sounds pretty grim. But what he means are the glorious, epic stories we tell about our heroes, the mighty dead. Think about the legends of their noble sacrifices. He's saying those stories are in themselves a profound thing of beauty. And this all brings us to the poem's grand finale. This is where Keats ties everything together with one final, unforgettable image that explains what beauty provides to the human spirit. So, after listing all these incredible examples from nature and from human stories, he kind of zooms the camera all the way out to give us the ultimate metaphor for beauty's function in our lives. And here it is. He says that all these beautiful things, the sun, the moon, the stories, the flowers, they're all like an endless fountain. And what's it pouring? An immortal drink coming straight from the edge of heaven. So you see, in the end, beauty for Keats isn't just a distraction or a simple pleasure. It's divine, spiritual nourishment. It's this essential, life-giving elixir that is constantly flowing down to us, renewing our spirits and letting us endure the darkness. It's not just a joy, it's our salvation. And that, right there, is the core of Keats's timeless message. It's a reminder to look for that immortal drink that's all around us. So the final question really isn't just what Keats saw, but what you'll see. What thing of beauty will you find today?